Good morning and welcome to Eduscope. My name remains Dr. Iroro Stephen Izu, and I'm your anchor. We're going to begin, and today's wisdom nuggets, of course, part six, with and three very prominent minds, who have left us with some assertions, some quotes that can enhance our consciousness and facilitate positive change in our lives. And these three minds are Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie of Nigeria, Plato of ancient Greece, and of course, Niccolo di Bernardo Machiavelli of Renaissance Italy. Now, we'll take the first one, Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is a Nigerian, a very prominent novelist, an intellectual par excellence, a young woman who has developed her gifts and her talents in the area of speech making and writing to the acme, to the apex. She's so prominent that she's often invited to American universities, to come and give speeches to young graduates from these universities. You know, she has written several novels, among which are Half of a Yellow Sun, Americana, and so on and so forth. She has contributed, to conference proceedings, and she has been key note speaker, in several of these gatherings. She asserted, and I quote, show a people as one thing over and over again, and that is what they become. Show a people as one thing over and over again, and that is what they become. Now, this is a remonstration against the Western perception of Africa and the black. Because there is this inborn, inherent tendency in the white man and in the Western media houses, to portray Africa and Africans as that backward, wretched, poor, illiterate, ignorant, and diseased, continent and citizen. And so because they keep showing that, whenever they want to show anything about Africa, what they depict is the wretchedness of the continent, is the poverty of the continent, the disease, prevalence, of the continent, and not the beauty, not the modest accomplishment or development of the continent. So Shimamanda is saying that when a people portray other people in that fashion, it develops stereotypes. Stereotypes. These biases against these people, because of the selfishness of the portrayal of these people in this manner. So that also speaks the fact that we must not be hasty in our judgments as individuals. We must not be hasty in our judgments. That somebody comes to meet you and tell you that, this guy is bad, this lady is bad, does not mean that it is true. It may be his own opinion. Don't be hasty, to agree with such negative connotation or denotation of anybody or any circumstance. We must learn for ourselves. We must find for ourselves the true picture, of things. Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie, a great woman, a woman whom I consider personally as the most suitable successor to Chinua Achebe. The second quote we're going to take is from Plato. Plato said, and I quote, until philosophers become kings, or until the kings become philosophers, society will never have rest from their evils. Until philosophers become kings, or until kings become philosophers, or acquire the the tendencies of philosophers, societies will never know rest, from its evil. So now this speaks to the fact that, you know, leaders must be enlightened. Leaders must be enlightened, not just say, educated. We live in a society, we live in a world today that celebrates certificates without knowledge. That is why you see people just go to all manner of universities to go and get certificates, whether they are fake or they are forged or they are original. We see people who go to private universities to go and buy certificates because they know that what Nigerians celebrate is not knowledge. It's not knowledge. It's rather your acquisition of certificates, your ability to acquire certificates. So when Plato talk about the fact that, until kings becomes philosopher, a philosopher is somebody who has enlightened mind. Philosophers are actually the learned people, not lawyers. It's a misconception or an arrogation of these arrogant tendencies, egotistical tendency by lawyer, for them to say that they are the learned people. No. Philosophers are the learned people. People who have been enlightened, who see things, very critically and in detail, who can explain, give the true explanation of circumstances, not lawyers. So now, until kings become philosophers, or philosophers become kings, society will not have rest, from the evils that confront her. So leaders, people who are aspiring to be leaders, must train their minds, must groom their minds to the extent that they are enlightened, they are informed about things. As a president, as a governor, as a local government chairman, or as a leader in any stratum, you can't say that you are not aware of the consequences of a particular thing. That was why you approved it. No. You must take responsibility for every of your action. And how do you do that? You must be informed about every of such thing. How do you get informed? By being a philosopher, by being a studious being, by being a studious entity, somebody who reads and researches, not somebody who glamorizes and relish in inanities and vanities. Leaders must be readers. Readers are leaders. So that is Plato for you. Plato for you. Let's go to our last quotation for today, and that is given by Niccolo di Bernardo Machiavelli. Now, Niccolo di Bernardo Machiavelli was a very prominent, Florentine Renaissance, thinker, and he wrote a book, The Prince. The Prince has been interpreted, by diverse persons from diverse perspectives. But this guy left us with some very realistic, practical, assertions that are very, very, that are very, very instrumental to not just individual prosperity, but societal stability. He said, and I quote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." The fox and the lion. Machiavelli is saying that our society is characterized by so many evil men and women, and we must be shrewd. We must be shrewd to be able to live successfully in this kind of society. We must not only be shrewd, we must also be very, very, strong, courageous, like the lion. Now, even the Bible talks about the fact that we must be as wise we must be as gentle as the dove, but we must be as wise as the serpent. Now, because the world is filled with people who want to deceive, who want to defraud us, who want to take that which does not belong to them. People who are looking for shortcuts to success. Looking for shortcuts to success means that they want to defraud somebody, they want to dupe somebody, they want to shortchange somebody. They want to take that which does not belong to them by rights. So to live in this kind of world, where you have this kind of people, you must be very, very wise, you must be very, very shrewd, very, very shrewd. Machiavelli said you must be a fox. A fox is a very wise animal, a very cunning animal. So you must be wise enough to be able to recognize traps set for you. Recognize, the foul play being, undertaken by your friends and foes, because in most circumstances, those who betray us are not even our enemies. They are people who are close to us. They are our friends. So this is a very, very instructive, assertion that you must be a fox to be able to succeed in this life. Not just being a fox, you must also be a lion. A lion, every human being must have this tendency, this lion tendency in him, to be able to resist. To resist temptation takes a lot of courage. That is an attribute of a lion. To resist corruption, that is takes courage, takes determination, takes boldness. That is an attribute of a lion. You must be able, to roar against, things that want to, degrade your person, debase your person, dehumanize your person. You can't, you must be able to stand your ground, you know, against, some of these tendencies that people deliberately peddle, around you. When you are able to develop this tendency of being a fox, being very wise, very shrewd, and this tendency of being very courageous, lion, very bold, unintimidated, in unable, people not being able to intimidate you or to mislead you or to lead you astray, then you will be able to succeed in this life. So Machiavelli is counseling us this morning that we should take up the apparel of a fox, being wise as the serpents, being very shrewd, and that of a lion, being very courageous, very bold, very fearless in the face of, fearful beings in society. Thank you, thank you, thank you, for your time. This is the end of today's session, and please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and very soon we're going to be doing some giveaways, end of year giveaways. Try to subscribe, try to like, try to comment, and try to tell us where you are watching from. As you do that, you know, the channel will keep being encouraged, to go on. Thank you very much. I remain Dr. Ero Stephen Izo.